Hello, everyone. Welcome back to English with Mike and Mia.
Today we're answering the biggest question of 2026. Why do you watch English videos every day but still can't speak fluently?
That really is the big one, isn't it? It's the frustration we hear about all the time. And before we go any further, we have to acknowledge your effort.
Oh, absolutely. You are putting in the work, no question about it.
For sure. I mean, you're consuming hours and hours of English. Maybe it's on TikTok or YouTube or, spending a lot of time with shows on Netflix.
Yes, and that time is paying off in one way. We know many of you feel like you can understand a huge amount,
Mm.
maybe 80% or more of what you hear.
Which is genuinely a huge accomplishment. I mean, you've built this incredible foundation of knowledge. But, and this is the big but, here's the problem.
Right. The moment comes when it's your turn to speak. You try to join a conversation or someone asks you a simple question and
Nothing. Your mind just goes completely blank.
the words were just there a second ago. You understood them perfectly. But now, they're gone. It's so frustrating, and it's so common we've actually given it a name.
We call this situation the passive trap.
And that's our whole focus today. We're going to talk about exactly why this trap happens, what's
Yeah.
going on in your brain.
And most importantly, we're going to give you some really practical ways to switch from just listening, which is passive, to what we call active output.
Okay, so let's explore this. The whole problem really starts with understanding the difference between passive and active learning.
Right, because they feel similar, but they're completely different processes for your brain.
Exactly. Passive learning is, well, it's what you're doing right now. You're taking in information,
Yeah.
listening to us, reading a book. It's all input.
Which is super important, of course. You need that input.
You do, but it's only half the story.
Yeah.
Active learning is when you have to use that information, when you have to produce the language yourself.
Through speaking
Mhm.
or writing.
Exactly. And the passive trap happens because there's a huge imbalance.
Yeah.
You've spent, hundreds of hours on input, filling your brain up.
But there's been very little output practice to balance it out.
To make this clear, let's use an analogy.
Yeah.
Imagine you want to learn to play the piano,
Okay.
and you become obsessed. You watch videos of famous pianists every single day. You listen to concerts. You can hear every note. You understand the music perfectly.
Your brain knows the music inside and out.
It does.
Yeah.
But if you never actually sit down at a piano and put your fingers on the keys,
You can't play.
you absolutely cannot play. It's physically impossible. You know the music, but you don't have the skill.
And speaking English is exactly the same. Your ears and your brain. They know the words. They recognize the grammar.
But speaking requires physical practice. It needs muscle memory in your mouth.
This is a point people miss all the time. Your tongue, your lips, they need to be trained. It's like a dance.
It is. And if you don't practice those physical movements, the knowledge just stays locked inside your head. It's no use in a real conversation.
Okay, so that's the first cause, the physical side. But there's a second reason, and this one is, it's a bit more sneaky. It's a trick our brains play on us.
We call this the illusion of competence.
The illusion of competence. So what does that mean exactly?
Well, it's that feeling you get when you're watching a movie with subtitles. Or, the context is really obvious. A character falls down and you hear someone say, "He fell down."
And your brain just goes, yep, got it. I know that. It feels easy.
It feels very easy. And because it feels easy, your brain incorrectly tells you, "I know this perfectly." It thinks you've mastered it, but you haven't really been tested.
Because recognizing a word is totally different from actually producing that word yourself.
Completely different. Recognizing something is, well, it's passive. Your brain just has to check a list and say, "Yes, I've seen that word before."
But producing it, that's active, that requires something called active retrieval.
Right. You have to find the word in your memory, put it into a sentence, and then coordinate all those mouth muscles to say it correctly.
And you have to do all of that in milliseconds.
Exactly. And if you've only ever practiced recognizing the word, that retrieval pathway in your brain is very weak.
So when you're put under pressure to speak, the pathway fails. And that's the moment your mind goes blank.
That's the moment. The word is in there somewhere, but you just can't get it out in time.
Okay, so the problem is clear. It's not about how smart you are. It's about a lack of physical muscle practice and a lack of active retrieval practice.
Perfectly said. And that's a great place to start talking about the solutions.
Yes, let's get into that. We've got two really simple, really practical solutions you can start using today to escape this trap.
And the first one is a tiny change to how you watch videos, but it has a huge impact.
This is a technique that completely changes how you use Netflix or YouTube. It's called the 5-second pause.
The biggest enemy for active learning is binge watching. I'm watching 3 hours of Stranger Things, 5 in one go.
Your brain is just in that relaxed, passive mode the entire time.
Exactly. We need to break that pattern. So here's how you do it. You're watching your show, and after a few minutes, maybe after a really important line of dialogue, or a scene ends,
You pause the video, that's the first step. Just hit pause.
and then your job is to summarize what just happened out loud in English.
And the challenge is to do it in just one complete sentence.
So, for example, if you just watched a scene where a character discovered a secret map, you'd pause and you'd say, "The main character found a hidden map behind the old painting."
Right. Or if you're watching a documentary, you might pause and say, scientists believe this new planet could potentially support life.
It might feel a little awkward at first, but what you're doing is creating immediate, low-pressure output practice.
You're forcing your brain to use that active retrieval skill right after you get the input. It connects the two processes.
Now, a lot of you are probably thinking, but wait, won't that ruin the show for me? Pausing all the time.
That's a fair question. But you have to shift your mindset. For fluency, it's about quality of practice, not quantity of watching.
Exactly. 1 hour of watching with a 5-second pause is so much more valuable than 5 hours of passive binge watching. It builds that active skill
It's a powerful way to move vocabulary from that passive part of your memory.
into the active part that you can actually use when you speak.
Okay, that's a fantastic technique. Now, let's talk about the second strategy. This one uses the technology we all have in 2026.
Yes. This is all about using AI for what we call judgment-free practice.
I think a big reason people don't practice speaking is, well, they're afraid of making mistakes. They feel anxious.
Totally. They don't have a practice partner,
Uh-huh.
or they're too nervous to talk to a native speaker.
Mhm.
But your phone can be the perfect partner.
So you're talking about tools like ChatGPT or Siri or other voice assistants.
Exactly. But don't just ask them for the weather. You need to use them as a real conversation partner.
How would that work, let's say, with that Netflix show again?
Okay, so after you watch a scene, instead of just summarizing it, you could ask your AI, "I want you to pretend you're a journalist asking me about the scene I just watched."
Oh, that's good. So you're doing a role play.
Yes. Or you can even argue with it. Tell it, "I disagree with what that character did, and here's why." Then you have to explain your reasoning in complex sentences.
That forces you to produce really high-level language.
Another great technique is called shadowing. You can ask the AI to tell you a short story. Have it read it out loud.
Okay.
Then you try to tell the story back to the AI in your own words. You try to copy the structure, the vocabulary, the rhythm.
And the best part about all of this is that the AI doesn't care if you make a mistake.
Not at all. There is zero judgment. It won't get impatient. It won't laugh. It just responds. It's a completely safe space to practice and fail.
And that safety is so important for building confidence. I think, fluency is often just as much about confidence as it is about grammar.
I agree 100%. You have to have the courage to try. And the AI helps you build that courage in private.
So just to recap everything, the problem isn't that you don't know enough English. The problem is that the knowledge is passive.
Right. You need to build the physical muscle memory and the mental retrieval pathways for active output.
And the two methods we talked about are perfect for that. First, the 5-second pause.
Which turns your passive watching time into active speaking practice, one sentence at a time.
And second, using AI assistance for judgment-free practice, for role-playing, arguing, and shadowing.
Which builds your skill and, just as importantly, your confidence.
At the end of the day, it comes down to this. Any amount of active output is more valuable than hours of passive listening if your goal is to speak fluently.
So stop just listening and start speaking, even if it's just to your phone.
Exactly. Try the 5-second pause today and tell us how it goes in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe.
See you tomorrow.